On our third form of the quadratic equations, this is called intercept form. So when you take a look at this, you look at it and you're like, okay, it doesn't look like vertex form, doesn't look like standard form, it is intercept form. So pause the video, make sure you copy this all down. It looks like y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. So the vertex for this one is p plus q divided by 2. And the x function, the y, of this, is going to be, after you find the x, you plug it in. The axis of symmetry is always going to be your x as an equation. Your maximum or your minimum is going to be the y for that. So pause this now and copy it. All right, so we are going to do Monitoring Progress 6, which is on page 59 in your book, so you can follow along. First thing you'd like to do is to write down what your a, your p, and your q is. So my a is -1. Now my p, notice it's x plus 1, so that means my p is -1. My q, again, since it's plus 5, is going to be -5. Okay, let's find our vertex. Now remember, the vertex was p plus q divided by 2 for the x. So let's do that. P is, so this is going to be our x. X equals, p is -1 plus -5 divided by 2. -6 divided by 2, which means it is -3. Good. So I got half of my vertex at -3. Now, to find the y, you just take this -3, we're going to plug it back into this equation. So y equals -3 plus 1 times -3 plus 5. It's going to be -2 times 2, and that's going to be +4. So, yay, we have our vertex. That means we know our axis of symmetry is going to be x equals -3, and we know that because a is negative, that this is going to be a maximum, and the maximum is going to be at 4. So let's draw our t-chart. Oops, let's try that again. Wasn't straight at all. Okay, so this is going to be our x, and that's going to be our f of x after we plug it in. Okay, start with the vertex here in the middle, -3 and 4. Okay, two numbers above, we'll do -2 and -1. Two below, -4 and -5. All right, so let's plug in -2. So -2 plus 1 times, extra parentheses there, sorry, times -2 plus 5. -1 times 3, that comes out to be, this is 1 times 3, and this comes out to be -3. Did I do that right? 3 plus 5, and that comes out to be -3. Okay, let's do -4 now. So -4, I take that back. There's my mistake. So -2 plus 1 is -1, and that is +3 now. I knew that didn't look right. Okay, easy to make a mistake. I want to double check your work. And I knew that because after going into my next one, I knew this had to be +3, and I was realizing, had to match it, and I realized it didn't come out. So let's try that again. -4 plus 5. Okay, so this is going to be -3 times 1, and 2 negatives a positive, and again, that comes out to be 3. All right, let's plug in -1. -1 plus 1 times, right away, I know this is going to be 0, so I don't even need to finish it. It'll be 0. And if I plug in -5 right here, that will also be 0. So there's my 0. Okay, so let's graph this now. Mostly on the negatives for the x's. Okay, so vertex first, -3, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, it should be facing down. I knew that from my a value. So there's my vertex. So -2, +3, -4, +3, -1. So -1 and 0, you see there, and then it's going to be -5 and 0. So there is my graph. Oops, I should have done that in purple. Let's do our axis symmetry. You're always going to draw it as a dotted line. Do that in red. And it's x equals -3, and the maximum is right up here at +4. So pause the video, try number 7 on your own, check it in the back of the book, and I will see you in class. Totally forgot something, and I don't know how I forgot to say this. So the reason why this is called intercept form is because P, where is my P? P and Q are my intercepts. It's where it crosses at -1 and 5, -5. So that's also another way of starting. If you don't want to do the math, you just know automatically that there's going to be points here at P and Q. I'm sorry I didn't say that in the beginning. It's a key point. So write that down. These are the intercepts on the x-axis.